Welcome to the Take Your Power Back show with Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach Kim Yeater. Today's empowering program will encourage you to step into your power, to take action in your leadership, and allow your voice to be heard. Listen in today as we speak to other freedom-loving Americans that are making a positive impact in the world by standing in truth amid adversity. Learn how to take your power back in your freedom, in your personal and professional life, in technology and creativity, and in your faith. Be inspired. Be encouraged. Be transformed. Together, let's take your power back with our host, Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach, Kim Yeater.
Freedom-loving patriots, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Take Your Power Back show. What an incredible show we have today. I'm Kim Yeater, Peak Performance Master Coach and host of the Take Your Power Back show. This is a program that empowers you to step into your God-given power, access your leadership, and allow that God-given voice to be heard. Today, I have been looking forward to this for so long. The guests that we are about to have on are going to shake up California. So get ready. Right now, you have the ability to share this. So before I begin, I want you to start, thumbs up. I want you to subscribe. I want you to share. Get this out to everybody. We are streaming live on all podcast platforms. You can find us if you send this to your friends, go to rumble.com/Take Your Power Back Show /live. We are going live everywhere today, and we want California to pay close attention because this is the beginning. Today's Take Your Power Back show, the California Face-Off, round one. That's right, it's round one. That means we will have following rounds. And this is just the beginning. We are peppering. We are months away, but the actions we take today are going to truly move the needle. Now, after 2 terms of Governor Newsom, California is in a desperate need for change. And in the first time in many years, a Republican candidate has an opportunity to win California. That's exactly what I say. 48% of Californians say they would be willing to vote for a Republican governor candidate in 2026. This has resulted in many Republicans getting behind the 3 candidates that are joining us today. We want all great California governors to reverse the horrible wrongs of Gavin Newsom. So today, and in the days to come, we've got to reverse the horrible wrongs of Gavin Newsom and elect a candidate that is experienced and competent as a leader. That is going to be really, really key. Now, this is not about what these leaders say they will do. We've heard many candidates in the past who've said much, but not done much, right? We know it's all about action. So after listening to We the People, these are the people all over California. These are entrepreneurs. These are business owners. These are moms and dads and educators and lawmakers, people that want to take California back again. I heard your voices loud and clear. I knew how imperative it was to create a space of transparency. And I believe that these 3 guests that we have on today are going to bring it. They are going to bring it. We want a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That means a candidate, when elected by the people to govern California, does what he says he's going to do. And we see that even in the actions he or she is doing right now. Well, let's get ready because it is time we rally the forces together. We have 3 of the candidates running for governor in today's California Governor Face-Off. We've got Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco, Leo Zaki, Vice President of Zaki Farms, and Leo Naranjo, retired U.S. military. get ready for a powerful conversation in round one of the California Governor Face-Off. I almost wanted to say Governor Newsom Face-Off, but it's the Governor Face-Off. So before we bring in our amazing warriors, we're going to take a moment and thank our sponsors, because truly it is because of the sponsors that the Take Your Power Back show is possible. So our first sponsor today, and that I really want to thank, is an incredible sponsor. Our sponsor is called Patriot TV Beef. What does that mean for you? Well, I don't know about you, but when I eat my beef, it better not have hormones, and it better not have antibiotics, and by golly, it better not have mRNA in any of those cats or their mamas. Here's the deal. You too can access exactly what I accessed. It is called Patriot TV Beef. It is the bomb diggity, guys. Take a look. No hormones, no antibiotics, sent to your home. It is vertical integration. It is the bomb diggity, the best ribeyes I have ever eaten. Go to patriotvbeef.com. That's patriotvbeef.com. And because of Patriot TV Beef, we're bringing you today's show. Now, without further ado, we have quite a show for you today. And I'll tell you what, I am so excited. I'm going to start by introducing our first guest today. We're going to go back to back. Now, I'm telling you, this is a face-off, right? But we are bringing you their faces first. Before we have a room where they face off together and they face off to one another, we're going to bring them right here so that you can hear what's important to them, how they are going to take this state back. It's time to take California back again. So let's bring them in. Without further ado, Chad Bianco in this run for governor, and then so kickstarting it in the run for governor and then taking it on the moment you're in office.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to say there's one thing, but we live in California and we know that there is a long list of things that one is no more important to anyone than the other one is. So what maybe my number one might be your number 5 and somebody else's number 15. But we know there's 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 things that absolutely need to be taken care of right away. We know that people are fleeing the state, and we know why they're fleeing. Businesses and people are fleeing the state because of regulations and taxes. They can't operate their businesses. They can't. The cost of living is too high. They can't afford rent. They can't afford food. Business regulation. It takes too long to open your business. They give up. It's impossible to build a home or to remodel a home because of the regulation, the time constraints, the environmental regulations. All of those things have to be done away with, and they can be done away with on day one. We absolutely must reduce taxes in this state, and we've gotten to a place where everyone doesn't like taxes, so our legislature over the last 20 years has gotten very smart, and they don't call them taxes anymore. They just regulate a fee that makes you have to pay it that truly is just an added tax that they didn't have to vote on or get us to vote on. And so all of those things can be taken away with the stroke of a pen. Those will all be done day one. CEQA, which is it's an absolutely horrible law, environmental law, that the last 5 governors have said needs to be drastically fixed or repealed. I will absolutely cancel it on day one, and we will leave it canceled for the 8 years that I am governor, or until the legislature removes CEQA from its current form and either makes drastic changes or eliminates it altogether.
Let's distinguish real quick what CEQA is.
CEQA is basically an act, an Environmental Protection Act, that has just gone off of the rails. It started probably with a good idea, but has been completely abused and manipulated and morphed into something that is just it's the regulations and the time that it imposes on environmental studies destroys all buildings. So, for instance, I'll tell you a perfect example. I'm in government. You would believe that I would have an in to these types of things to be able to get something done quickly. We are building a new academy. We are completely remodeling our training academy, and I mean we haven't got the final bill yet, or the final production costs, or exactly what it's going to look like. But it's going to be between the $400 and the $900 million range. This is a massive, massive undertaking by our county to redo our training academy. And we paid roughly not quite $5 million, but close to $5 million. And we're 2 years in the running, close to 3 years on an environmental protection study. That's it. We just pay the fine and we sit and wait for someone to say it's okay. And we were left just sitting and waiting for more study, more time, because they found a hole that they said could belong to a burrowing owl. Well, if they find an owl on the property, which they never did, but if they find a burrowing pair, that's a disaster. You have to give them like an acre or something of land that you can never touch. If you find 3, you can no longer do anything. And so we just sat and waited and added $5 million onto the cost of our project just so they could tell us whether or not a burrowing owl lived there. And truthfully, all we would have to do is move the burrowing owl. There's no such thing as affordable housing in California because the environmental impact reports and fees and studies that you have to do to actually build prevent you from actually building. And it was designed that way by the environmentalists who want absolutely nothing being done. So you have CEQA that, and like for instance, in the fires that we just had, CEQA really prevents anything from being done for the cleanup, for the repairs, for the remodel, for the rebuilding of all of these homes without environmental impact studies. And so the governor, with a stroke of his pen, eliminated CEQA for the Pacific Palisades. Well, if it's that easy and we can make it that easy for everyone, why haven't we done it years ago? Why haven't we done it for all of California? Mm-hmm. It's just proof positive that a true leader in Sacramento that actually cared about Californians rather than special interests could make a major, major difference from day one.
That's right, Sheriff. So affordability and cost of living are the top of the list of issues that are most concerning the Californians, just as you said. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this.
Taxes going to that.
Taxes, yep. So in the time since you've been sheriff, okay, the annual budget of the Sheriff's Department has nearly ballooned 5 times what it is when you started. So at the Riverside Sheriff's Department, you guys have lost over $75 million in lawsuits and settlements during your time as sheriff. So this includes, suits for wrongful deaths, wrongful arrests, sexual extortion lawsuits, defamation, brutality, a practice of unconstitutional or unlawful policing, city civil right violations, and so on. But the most concerning thing, and I want you to rectify this for me, okay, and for the people, is in 2024, the annual budget of the Sheriff's Department was $1.15 billion. And the executive office recommended $1.9 billion. So the 2023 budget was $1.1 billion. 21, the approved budget was a little over $865 million. The 2019 Riverside Sheriff's Department budget was about $236 million. How do you reconcile this with what you said about, making California affordable so that people can actually live here? How is that showing up in your home?
Yeah, so unfortunately, that was a very, very, very long question with
it was
unfortunately some bad information or bad statistics that you threw out there. So I have absolutely no idea where you got it.
These are on the web. We vetted these statistics. So I'm curious and you know what? If anything that I say today is different from what you're present to, get that to me because I really would like to cross-reference. We've done a lot of research.
Okay, it's impossible. We haven't had a $200 million budget in probably 50 years. So I don't know where you came up with that to say that we've increased because that's simply not true. And the fact of our budget, because of normal, minimal, usually between 3 and 5% per year increases in salaries for deputies in contract negotiations with our Board of Supervisors, where all of our unions, not just deputies, but SEIU and LIUNA of union employees that negotiate contracts. They're in 3-year, 5-year contracts. And in those contracts, every single year, the cost of employees go up. The fact of my budget is over 90%, about 93% of my budget is salary. It's salary and medical and basically industrial fees that go along with hiring. So the vast majority of our budget comes from personnel. And that increases every time the Board of Supervisors authorizes a raise. So from the size of what we are, they're truly minimal nominal raises that are not really indicative of other places in the entire country. So our deputies are about the middle of the range. At one point, we were at the bottom of the range. We were the lowest paid staff in all of our comparable counties, especially size-wise. The deputies recently got a contract that gave them a raise. Our LIUNA got a raise. Our SEIU members got a raise that have put us close to the middle. It all sounds great that we're in the middle of the pack, but we're at the beginning of everyone else's, all these other counties' budget processes, and they will all get their raises now and their contract increases, and we will once again be at the bottom. So we've always known that. It's been like that since I've been here 32 years now. And it's been like that since I started. We work here because we're proud of working here. We work here because we like this county. And we know that we do get paid a decent salary for what we do. And we're okay with being the middle or toward the bottom. We don't have to be the top paid.
Well, tell me real quick, I got you, totally hear you. And I will vet these numbers, by the way. I'll go back and vet them if I've mistaken, for sure. Okay. Now, but tell me about the $75 million in lawsuits and settlements during your time. I mean, how do we prevent these things from happening? I mean, you guys, you vet the people you're hiring in. And for these types of allegations, like, or wrongful arrest, wrongful death.
I completely understand what you're saying, and I'm going to say this. It's great here that especially now that I'm running for election, that I've become the target of everyone's ire, and everyone else in the entire country is pushed to the side. And every time I go to my major meetings, they all thank me for doing this, because now no one cares about what they're doing, because it's us in the spotlight. So the reality of law enforcement is since 32 years that I've been here, and I'm sure it was before that, particularly in California, because there are more Californians than we have. There are more attorneys per capita in California than anywhere in the country. And the only way attorneys make money is when attorneys sue. And the nature that where we are right now is it's an anti-law enforcement world. And the lawsuits that are brought against us, it has nothing to do with whether or not deputies did anything wrong. It's about whether or not they found an attorney that would sue, and it ends up going back to the county, not the sheriff's office. County risk management is the one that handles all of those lawsuits. We get sued for if a person fires a gun at a deputy and the deputy shoots back and kills them, we are going to get sued. They are going to sue us for the family who had this perfect little child that was just going to turn his life around, and they're going to sue us for $10, $20, $30 million. And then it is up to the county risk management whether or not they want to fight that lawsuit for forever until we either win or we don't, or they make business decisions on whether or not they want to settle the case based on the cost of our own attorney fees to defend ourselves. And to be quite frank, I am completely against settlements. I go to every one of our board meetings where our behind the scenes, our closed door meetings where we talk about settlements. I am against every single one of them, because if we didn't do anything wrong, we should not be settling anything. The problem with the county is they look at the risk versus reward. If it's going to cost $1 million for attorneys to represent us, with the potential of a jury awarding $5 million, and the person wants to settle for $500,000, the county's going to settle for $500,000. It's half the price of our attorneys. The problem with that is it creates predatory attorneys who basically ambulance chasers who are going around re-victimizing these families and just bringing them into court, hoping for that settlement, knowing that they're going to get a settlement, and it's an automatic paycheck for these attorneys. Yep. So we have not suffered a loss from a lawsuit for doing anything wrong. We suffer losses for settlements. We are settling cases rather than the potential outcome of losing a case if you fought it and lost it, and what the insurance companies say you're looking at. So if the insurance company, we're self-insured up to $5 million, if the insurance company says this is a $20 million lawsuit and we are not going to cover you over the $5 million, then we're more than likely going to just go with the insurance company and say we'll settle it for $5 million. And or you fight it and you win. Mm-hmm. And that's my position. You fight these things until you win, because it creates a predatory environment. Now, most of these lawsuits over that time, lawsuits take 3 to 5 years, sometimes longer, to work their way through the system, sometimes 10. We have one that's probably 14, 15 years in the making that's probably going to get settled within the next couple of months. But we've fought it for 15 years. We didn't necessarily do anything wrong, but now it's just going on and on and on, and we've come to a settlement agreement where they're willing to settle it and go away, and we're cutting our losses. But that's a business decision, and that's up to risk management professionals and attorneys that make those decisions. If it were up to me, we would fight everything if we didn't do anything wrong. And for us, I mean, sometimes if a deputy runs a stop sign and causes an accident, that's going to cause damage. And there's going to be people that sue us because we're the county and we have money. It doesn't go off of your insurance, where your insurance is only going to pay $25,000. Well, big government, that's not what they're going to sue us for. So it's a horrible environment. And to be quite honest with you, it's caused by laws in California that were written by attorneys and passed by other attorneys that grant these attorneys all of the ability to I don't want to say a frivolous lawsuit, because a frivolous lawsuit is a legal description, but it could be a meritless lawsuit, and it doesn't matter. The judges look at it and say, well, their version is this and your version is 360 degrees, 180 degrees different, so a jury's going to have to decide. I'm not going to dismiss the case. And so now we have to make that decision. Are we going to just drag this on through court, or do we settle for a few $100,000 and go away? So the settlements, I mean, just throwing out $70 million and saying, oh my God, look at what he's done. It all sounds good because $75 million is a lot. But based on the 5 million contacts that I have with criminals every single year, it's kind of minuscule. We do a very good job of doing things right in this county, and the people that do things wrong, I'm probably one of the I don't know the word I'm looking for, but one of the harshest critics of deputies doing something wrong. And we fire people for things that other agencies don't fire for, and we make no qualms about it. If you do something wrong that embarrasses us, you're probably going to get fired. And here's the thing about, we do background checks. The problem with that is that I hire from the human race. And so all I am doing is hiring from the general public. I have no magic wand. I have no magic ball, crystal ball to say whether or not this person is going to be ethical their entire career. And if they do something stupid when they get on the job, when we catch them, we fire them. We put them in jail when we can. Yeah.
Well, let me interrupt for a second, because I appreciate you just really laying this out for me. Now, there are allegations and now proof that one of your current sergeants, Dave Tinker of Riverside Sheriff's Department, has been accused of making OnlyFans pornography with his wife. Are you aware of this? Because from our research and findings, this has been going on for some time, and we heard that you were present to this. So all I know is that is quite an embarrassment to the department, and it sounds like it would be a violation. Are you present to this and aware of this?
So it's obvious some of the information that you've gotten just from some of the information that or the questions that you're asking and some of the statements that you've made is you're picking a fine group of individuals to get information from for this interview. Sergeant Tinker is a fantastic employee for us. He does a great job. He's always been a great investigator. He's a great supervisor now. A little bit of reason, common sense, and just a little bit of factuality. Do I have to care what his wife does? Do I have to care what his friends do? Does your job depend on something that your husband does or your wife does? And particularly I don't know how much research you've done. I'm doing none of it other than asking questions, but there's never faces. No one really knows whether or not there's no information. He doesn't get on there and say, I'm whatever, tinker. You're getting information from employees, from rumor mills within our agency of people that don't like him or people that don't like me and want this big sex thing to be going on. And the reality is nothing is illegal about OnlyFans. Nothing is illegal about what his wife is doing. Her face is never seen from what I've been told, and neither is his, if anyone is even sure that he's involved in the making of them.
Sheriff Bianco, though, isn't that embarrassing? I mean, personally, if those are people that I'm leading, right, and they're representing my district, they're my men, they're my women, they're my leaders, and this is what's happening in their home, and it's out to the public, and from my understanding, there's actual videos where you can see their faces.
What would you like me to fire him for?
Well, I
mean, you want me to? No, I'm not. You're coming at me like
willing to do this. I mean, it's like we're dealing with a state that is filled with human trafficking. We're dealing with child molestation. We're dealing with, a state that is so jacked up, Sheriff. So if we don't take a stand, I mean, I just question what are your values? I want to make sure that I'm going to be.
Everyone is what you know. You don't. Everyone is fully aware. Everyone, Kim, is fully aware of my values. I want you to tell me what I'm going to fire him for, because there is absolutely no proof that he has done anything wrong or illegal. What do I fire him for?
Okay, well, let me ask you. That's a really good question, Sheriff. So the question is, if you find out that he is in these OnlyFans videos and you can see his face, there's proof that it's him, would you fire him, or would you just say, you know what, it's okay, that's outside of work?
That would have to be determined when that is discovered. But from all of the information that I know about this, that is factually inaccurate, and now you're giving us a scenario to make it sound better, even implying that he is, when in fact it is not. And so
Sheriff, just so that you know, it has been brought to my attention that there are actual. So I'm gonna do even more vetting and research, and I would encourage you to do the same, because listen, I mean, I want to have a great interview right now, and I appreciate you. These are not easy questions, but do you know 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 people who had questions that they really wanted answered?
We know all of the people that are doing this, that are spreading this information, and all were either terminated or quit or retired in lieu of termination.
That's good. I like to hear that.
Yes.
I like to hear that.
That is why we're hearing this. And then this is the thing. This is absolutely irrelevant and stupid for this investigation, but it highlights something super important. Republicans are their own worst enemies in elections, and if this continues down this path, Kamala Harris will be our next governor, because there is absolutely no one on the Republican side of this election, of the 2026 governor election, that has a better chance of winning this from the Republican side than I do. The Democrats know it, and all of the rest of the Republicans that want to run, they know it also. So the only way is for them to somehow win in the primary, to get them to the end with me, is to somehow make it to where the public believes that I'm corrupt, that we do something wrong, that we've done something wrong, when the reality is we have not. There's absolutely nothing in my past that is that anyone will be able to say disqualifies me or prevents anyone from voting or supporting me. What we are seeing now is paid bloggers who are spreading information, who are spreading misinformation, and information taken completely out of context just to prey on the emotions of voters, to play on the emotions of voters, to get them to somehow not like me, and then they'll like somebody else better. Because the other people running know they may all be good people, but this is the Republican game. You destroy the other Republicans in the field so you can get to the end game of the November election.
What's good is that you're here right now and that we're having a powerful conversation, and that you are sharing whatever needs to be shared today. So let's traverse for a second. Let's talk sanctuary state. Okay. We are a sanctuary state. Now, I led the Take Our Border Back movement across the country, an amazing team. I was one of the co-founders. And the fact that we have a sanctuary state, to me personally, is very concerning. We have 11 counties that are super sanctuary states. So what are we going to do when you're in that position as governor? How are you going to take this on? I mean, even right now, are you in agreement that law enforcement works with ICE to safely release and send out illegal immigrants that have come in during this open border period, and those gang members and those that are, have a background of corruption of some kind?
Yeah, we have always cooperated with ICE, and we have always done everything we could, even within the confines of SB 54. So to be clear, SB 54 is an absolute complete disaster that must be repealed. SB 54 does nothing to keep communities safe, and it does absolutely nothing to protect immigrant communities who they say that's who it protects. It was designed, and it only protects criminals. It was made to prevent law enforcement from releasing criminals to ICE so they could be deported. The problem is that our emotions, the lies that have come from politicians about what it is and what it does, causes everyone to really not know what's even happening. So the number one role of law enforcement, the role of immigration is a 100% role of the federal government. And I'm gonna blow your mind here in a minute with the fun little fact.
Let's go.
From how you laid out the question, but I am 100% against, and the line level staff from immigration enforcement. That is the role of ICE. That is the role of Border Patrol. That is the role of our federal government. I cannot have, and what we have in this county and what we have noticed since the election, leading up until the swearing in, and then it really happened at the swearing in, but the rhetoric started at the election when the dishonest politicians started saying that that law enforcement was just going to round everybody up and ship all these people, legal citizens and everything else back to the country that they came from. So everyone was afraid to begin with. Then he takes office, and we noticed an absolute drastic decline in the amount of calls for service that we were getting, particularly from certain areas where we know the population are illegal, that are here, they're illegal immigrants. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem with that. We cannot have a section of our society that is being victimized or brutalized by criminals, and they won't report it because they're afraid of being deported. I cannot have a woman afraid to call 911 that she was raped because she's afraid she's going to be deported, instead of us helping her or find the person that raped her. So never has local law enforcement been involved in street level enforcement of immigration, because we are there for everyone that's in our communities to make sure they are safe and make sure we safeguard them and their families and keep criminals away from them. And that's how it should be. On the other hand, once you arrest somebody and send them to jail before SB 54, once you sent them to jail, when I worked at the jail, we would determine whether or not they were in the country illegally or not. If they were there illegally, we would call ICE. ICE would come pick them up, and they would deport them. That's how it should be. That's how it should operate, and that's how it used to operate. As governor, I will ensure that that's how it operates again. Here's a little fun fact for you. Everyone is all up in arms about the 10 million immigrants that have come across the border illegally in the Biden administration. So the fun little fact is, none of those 10 million are here illegally. They are in this country legally because the president invited them in, and then Border Patrol processed it. Hold on.
You're right. I 100% agree with you. You are correct.
Processed them into this country and then gave them paperwork to be here.
They sure did.
No one knows that. No one understands that.
Treason.
And no one cared when it was happening. The Democrats didn't care when it was happening. The Republicans didn't care enough to be outraged and vocal about it, and in the midterm elections vote those people out that were supporting it.
Yeah.
We just went on about our business, and now we're labeling them all as illegals when honestly, even from an ICE perspective, from a federal government perspective, those people are not here illegally. They still have to find the million gotaways that we don't know who they are or where they are. Those are legitimate to find and figure out whether or not they should be here, and then get them out when we realize they're not. And then some of them, when they end up in custody, we do everything we can to get ICE to pick them up and deport them. So your local sheriffs all across the state are complying with ICE and within the confines of the law. So that's the whole problem where I disagree with the law. The law says certain felonies, and they have to be serious felonies. Well, I particularly don't believe that, because there was a person here in the country illegally in Riverside County that was arrested 3 times for drunk driving. The 3rd time he was arrested, it was because of an accident, and that accident killed one of my dispatchers. So it's very personal to me that if they would have been deported on the first DUI or the second DUI, my dispatcher would still be alive. That mom would still have a son. If they're going to commit crimes, they need to be deported.
So would you call ICE? So in that case, do you have your deputies call ICE to get these guys out?
We are prevented by law of contacting ICE for a misdemeanor.
Because we're in a sanctuary state. So what are you going to do as governor to change and get us out of the sanctuary state?
Well, an executive order can get you out of anything until the legislature fixes it. So here's the thing as governor, you absolutely must elect a leader. We've never elected a leader since really truly the last leader that was ever elected in California was Ronald Reagan. And he was actually elected because of his leadership ability and put into office. And it was a labor board. I mean, go figure, it's a labor reason. He was a leader of a labor organization, Hollywood, but it was still an actors guild that he was the leader of. And that's why he was elected, because of his success in that and his following and how popular he was. We've never elected anybody like that before. A leader gets things done because people follow them. And it's the way you work. It's the way you operate. It's basically, it's a God-given ability to be a leader. You can train someone to be a leader. You can't make them be a leader.
All right, Sheriff Bianco, I'm going to ask you, are you ready? This is going to blow your mind. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
Listen, when you are governor, if you are elected to represent the people, will you make an executive order that stops the sanctuary state so we can start working on it?
Immediately. And more importantly, I will get the bill rewritten to make sure it doesn't come back and haunt us again.
Okay. I'm going to move on to my next question.
Very good.
All right. Are you enjoying this conversation?
I'm enjoying it. But I got to tell you, I only have 15 minutes.
All right, then we're going to bring it.
We have a victim ceremony going on this evening, so I have to get to that.
All right, so let me ask you this real quick. This is really big for, this is huge. You've heard it over and over. You've been in multiple interviews. Why did you and your deputies take a knee in support of Black Lives Matters protesters? Before you answer, hang on a second. This is really important. I have gone through so many videos. I'm like, listen, why would he take a knee? Like, I can't imagine being in that situation, first of all. Okay. So the whole Rodney King thing, let him breathe. I cannot imagine being put in that situation. Okay. In that role as a leader. Now, your guys follow your lead. What I saw, okay, with my eyes, I saw the protesters begin to take the knee. I saw the officer right beside me. I don't know who that is, but he was the first one to take that knee. And then some of the deputies behind started to take the knee. And then I saw you were talking, you looked over, you saw him take the knee, then you looked back, you took that knee. And I've heard you say in some interviews that you were praying. Sheriff, it didn't appear to me that you were praying. So help me to understand. I mean, I can't imagine being in that situation, but if you take a knee, you cannot reason with the unreasonable, and they'll continue to push and take. So help me to understand.
So if you're going to just look at what you saw, and you can't understand, and you will never understand because you weren't there. You are sitting nice and safe behind your computer screen, and you're clicking rewind, and you're watching it over again. You have absolutely no idea what's going on there. Even, several days after, we watched all the replays and listened to all the BWC and listened to all of the recordings that we had and the monitors that we had and the video and everything else, looking to make sure we could identify suspects. We could make sure that we didn't do anything wrong. And there's all kinds of things that you can hear or that you can see. What you never saw on TV, and you've never seen any of the videos, are the people saying F Bianco, F the police, kill the police, all of those other things that's what they are. What you also don't see there is any of the backstory that went into that entire incident. You don't see the 10,000 people that were there. You don't have any perspective of what was there. You're just sitting back watching a screen saying,
tell me. That's why I want this for you to share.
So I've explained this numerous times, and the bottom line is you just say, I just can't believe you did that. So you're either going to believe it or you're not going to believe it. But here's the thing.
Help me to understand what was going on in your mind at the moment.
Let me tell you that. We were dealing with them for about 4 days. We knew they were coming. We're planning with the organizers. That kid that was there had applied for us before, didn't finish the process, didn't get out. He just didn't finish the process. So several of our department knew who he was. He'd been involved in other community events, organizing things like that. So we had a history with him, and I had met with him on numerous times. And he knows exactly who I am. I have never been afraid to publicly state my faith or pray in public or admit that I'm a Christian in public. It means nothing to me. I'm not afraid of that at all. So every time that we met, he is no different. And we would end in prayer, sitting here in my office. We would end in prayer. He would go on his way, and we'd go on about our business. So what no one knows or no one cares that night is the timing of everything happening. And as we are getting to the point where we know the peaceful protest is now turning to a riot, and we are at the point where we are going to tell them that this is now an unlawful assembly, and we are going to make them leave. We're going to make them leave, or it's going to happen, and this is almost over. And then the sad thing is I've got 10,000 people there. Not all of them are bad. So I can't treat all of them bad because 4,000 of them are bad. So those are the things going on. We already watched LA. At the time, LA was on fire. Buildings were being looted. LA was on fire. It was complete mayhem. And these are the same people. It's the exact same people. We knew they were coming. We've identified them as the same people in LA.
So what was the message that you wanted to send them and to the people as you took a knee? Help me to understand.
They asked us if we would pray for a peaceful resolution. Some of the deputies said, no, we're not praying. Others said,
even
yes.
Though they were yelling, take a knee, take a knee, take a knee?
Well, I'll tell you this. Me hearing take a knee, I didn't hear one take a knee until 3 or 4 days later when we're watching all the news stories, and then you can hear it. At the time, no one heard it. So here's the reality, and this is what I want to tell you. I'm not going to go into detail and tell you what happened all night long. I'm going to tell you that when something doesn't make sense and it just can't be right, it obviously isn't. And maybe your opinion is wrong based on something that you saw because reality doesn't reflect that. I am one of the most respected law enforcement officers in the country, very much so the state, and most definitely in my county. Not just in my department, but our county police, our municipal police departments. BLM is a direct adversary of law enforcement.
Sure. They
were nothing but kill the cops.
Yep.
Cops are murderers.
Mm-hmm.
We are absolute foes, and now we've learned that they're just, it's a domestic terrorist organization, but at the time, on that day, they weren't called that, right. But we know that's what they are. We are absolute mortal enemies. If I would have kneeled to BLM, never would I have been elected again by my department, supported by law enforcement, supported by the state law enforcement. Law enforcement people, all of the cops that were there know exactly what happened, and it's not what people believe that they see and that they're being told from the news station. And more importantly now, from the people that are spreading this, again, we have to destroy Chad Bianco because he's the front runner, and the only way we're going to get into this position if we somehow take him down. It doesn't make sense. I cannot be the leader of law enforcement, one of the most respected leaders of law enforcement, and be the guy that kneeled to BLM. It didn't happen.
I got it. So if I'm understanding correctly, you guys had a meeting 4 days prior, and you guys talked about praying.
We met every single day.
But you guys talked about, so that I understand, you talked about that day when you guys met that you would pray. So your deputy.
That was said that. No, I didn't say that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That night, I said, we're done. We're getting over with. And he's like, can we pray for a peaceful resolution? Of course we can. Can the deputies pray? I can't make them. If they want to, they can. Some said yes, some said no.
I got it.
The bottom line, it didn't happen, Kim, and it makes absolutely no sense. If it doesn't make sense and nothing else goes along with it, maybe your perception and maybe what you think in your opinion that was influenced by news and news media and news recordings, maybe it's not 100% accurate.
And this is great. This is a great conversation. I know I've got one question. You got to go. I'm going to move on over, and I appreciate you taking me down this road and explaining that to me, because the people want to know, and this is your space to share what's happening. Last but not least, you've got Van Miller, right? So we heard about the third attempted assassination of President Trump. What we heard in the press conference was your deputies thwarted the attempted assassination of President Trump. So you got because I want to understand this. You got your information from your deputies. They passed over the information to you. Did you vet that information before you made that comment? And then the Epic Times comment where you said that Van Miller said, I am here to kill President Trump. So I want to understand, Sheriff, help me to understand.
Well, that's absolutely not a fact. What was told to us, relayed through numerous people, through the FBI, the Secret Service, and my staff, from line staff up to management, was that he admitted he was there to shoot the president. And then shortly after that, we were told, hey, he didn't say that. We've listened to the recordings to say it, and we don't know who started that. We don't know who said that, but we've listened to the recordings. He didn't say it. And that's why it was corrected. So the problem with all of this is I can tell who has influenced you, and I can tell what side you're on and where you lie on this.
Sheriff, I like you. Now I want you to get this for a second. I like you. I looked at your bio. And I'm blown away. I'm like, dang. And do you know there were people who had come to me who said, you got to have him speak at Take Our Border Back. You got to have him speak. So my heart is, I believe the best in you. So I've got all these great things I see. And then I have these other things over here. And I'm looking at Gavin Newsom and I want him out. So I want to make sure that you're not going to kowtower to anybody that comes in to try to move you in a direction. I want to make sure that you're someone who's going to stand firm and let nothing move you.
The proof that I'm not going to kowtower is I will never admit to something that we didn't do, say something that we didn't do, or bow down to this. Really, it's amounting to pretty much, in the court's words of another court case involving Mr. Miller, is cyberbullying, somehow where he thinks he's going to influence me or get me to do something because of public pressure. He really has absolutely no idea who he's dealing with, because that's never going to happen. And another problem with hardcore patriotic Americans that claim to be, the good, strong, hard right patriotic Americans, they don't believe one single thing they see on TV. But every single one of them believe this. Every single one of them. Every single one of them believe what the media wanted them to see on that stupid press conference. You've never seen the whole press conference because the whole press conference doesn't get out by the media. The entire press conference, and that really isn't even what I said. What I actually said in that news clip was based on all the information that we had at the time. And then I laid out the information. We had a man showing up after 2 attempts on the president's life. He knowingly showed up after being advised no weapons on scene. He knowingly showed up with 2 loaded guns in his car. The car was not registered. It had fake license plates, and he had multiple IDs, including passports, in multiple different names. So that's the information we know. Yes. So based on
Sheriff, you did say that.
So
And
based
then,
on
and then you finish with this
What
statement.
we do know is he showed up with multiple passports with different names, an unregistered vehicle with fake license plate, and loaded firearms. If you're asking me right now, I probably did have deputies that prevented the third assassination attempt.
Absolutely.
If
Absolutely. Kim, so here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with me, the media, and my history as the sheriff. I am and I always will be the most transparent sheriff that the country has ever seen. I'm not afraid of the media. My press conferences go hours because I'll answer anything and I detail as much as I possibly can. So I didn't say, if we believed, if we had evidence that there was an attempted assassination, we would have arrested him for assassinating the president. Attempted assassination. We arrested him for weapons and for the registration. That's what he was arrested for. That's what we could arrest him for. The rest of all of that is up to Secret Service and the FBI because it is their jurisdiction to protect the president. What they do with it is irrelevant to me. And the basic questions that they were asking there and after what I said in that interview was based on what we knew at the time, we thought we probably did. What would the normal person think? Holy crap, at a Trump rally?
Yeah. I mean, the reality is if I heard that information and I hadn't done the research to see what were the passports, what was his ID, why didn't he have, the license? Like now I've done the research to understand those things. So I may have thought the same thing, but also I know being in a leadership position, I am responsible for the words I say. So if I say something like that, man, oh my gosh, if this guy was not planning to kill Trump, I've just ruined his life.
That is absolutely not true, and that's great that you have that opinion. But
well, I mean, that's the public that we what we say matters. We leaders, what we say matters. People listen to it. They take it at face value.
And I said, based on what we knew at the time, on what we arrested him for, we believed at the time that we probably did. Then I continued to say, now that he's out of jail and he's giving these big old long statements and he's telling what he was there for and everything else, I actually said, I hope he's telling the truth. What he says now that he's out of jail is completely irrelevant. It truly is. Because now he's not going to get out of jail and say, oh yeah, I was there to kill the president. He isn't going to say that. So and what I said was, I hope he's now telling the truth. I really do.
Well, he's spending time with the president at Mar-a-Lago. I don't think he's going to kill the president, but I think here's the deal.
That's irrelevant.
I can imagine, Sheriff, I can imagine that all of these experiences are really, for any of us, they would put us in a position that they're teaching us. There's learnings from all of this. So let me ask you this. With everything we talked about today, by the way, you look like somebody I know so much as I'm looking at you right now. It's awesome. I'll have to tell you later. So let me just tell you this. You have the ability to leave everyone listening today with a call to action. So I want you to leave on a positive note. And I just want to say thank you. I know this wasn't easy and you've had to talk about this stuff tons, but my audience wanted to hear from you today. So don't worry. Zachy has a conversation we're having too. And so does Naranjo. You're not the only one. We're going to bring it for everybody. We're laying it out so that we can decipher what is true and what's not true. So, Sheriff Chad Bianco, Riverside County, what is your call to action for we the people to take our power back in California?
So I have 32 years of irrefutable, professional, integrity service to the county of Riverside. 7 as your sheriff, as their sheriff. The 4th largest sheriff's department in the country, the 2nd largest in the state of California. That my record of integrity, honesty, transparency, and complete, we didn't even talk about this, but fiscal management to where I have physically changed the way the Riverside County government operates in its fiscal management to save taxpayer money and to streamline the use of services to save taxpayer money is irrefutable. I will be the only candidate. I will bring that voter base out that we will be able to influence some of the down ticket items too. It's going to make it a huge race. It will be, the entire world is going to be watching the pro law enforcement, highly respected and liked sheriff against the failure Vice President, failure Attorney General Kamala Harris running for this governor spot.
It's going to be an incredible show. I am looking forward to what's ahead. Sheriff Chad Bianco, I want to thank you for being with me tonight. I appreciate you so much. And Sheriff, will you come back for the California Governor's Face-Off when we have all the governors, all those running for governor in the room? Would you be a part of that face-off when we get closer to election day?
Of course, and you will be my caveat to that. You already know how hard it was to get me on this, and since you made this appointment, got it on my calendar, I'm already booked out to July. So, and I'm talking every single day. So I will do everything I can to make it, but I cannot guarantee it because of the schedule. I have to do things that it's unfair for me to cancel something else.
We'll reach out. We'll reach back out.
We're going to work on it.
I love it. Sheriff, thank you so much. Have an amazing night tonight. Godspeed.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the Take Your Power Back show. As Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach Kim Yeater speaks to other freedom-loving Americans that are making a positive impact in the world by standing in truth amid adversity. Listen in weekly and learn how to take your power back in your freedom, in your personal and professional life, in technology and creativity, and in your faith. Be encouraged, be inspired, be transformed as you step into your power and take action in your leadership and allow your voice to be heard. Together, let's take your power back. To sponsor and support the Take Your Power Back show, go to takeyourpowerbackshow.com. That's takeyourpowerbackshow.com and take your power back.